So we are Cumbria Northumberland Tyne and Wear NHS Foundation Trust. We provide mental health services, learning disability services and neurorehabilitation services across the north of England. At present we have 70 sites across Cumbria, Northumberland, Newcastle, North Tyneside, Gateshead, South Tyneside and Sunderland, and we run national and regional services. We currently deliver support to people in their own homes from community and hospital-based premises, and at present we have 9,000 staff and a budget of 537 million. So we initially started the conversations with Society Matters, I think it was around last summer, and it was something where we were a bit hesitant potentially to have conversations, and we were a bit worried of kind of what we could share in terms of data from CNTW, but when we were speaking to Society Matters, they just approached us and they just made sure that we were having conversations that made it feel quite safe and secure with the information that we were sharing, but also that there was the support mechanisms in place to make sure that staff members who potentially didn't feel comfortable sharing information with us or maybe coming to the workforce development team, they maybe had a different outlet to kind of identify, and we could maybe identify how people were feeling or what financial situation they were in. From the initial conversations, we ran a survey that was aligned with the Financial Wellbeing Week last summer. This coincided quite nicely because it looked like we were able to kind of provide a few resources and we weren't prying too much when we were asking the questions around the survey responses. And from this resulted in 518 responses, which was a great response rate in terms of what we usually get at CNTW. Alongside looking at the quarterly pulse survey, which is every quarter that we deliver it, we were able to kind of see that staff were struggling a little bit more, and it's something that we did preempt, but I think just looking at the figures and the kind of index and the way that they were able to kind of get into the detail, we're able to see that staff members in certain areas, for example, maybe needed that little bit of support. So we provided a heat map and we were able to kind of look at an area and see how can we help a certain area, for example, rather than just assume that it's the 9,000 staff that maybe need that support. So I think it just gave us that little bit more of an in-depth knowledge that we were looking for, but we felt that we didn't pry too much in gaining that knowledge.
So a lot of the impacts that we've had through working with Society Matters, we've been able to tailor a lot of those support offerings that we've been able to implement. So before, I think sometimes you could be accused of working in a bit of a darkened room. This is actually the information, it has been brought to life. We've been able to look at it in more detail and actually create something that's going to be more meaningful to our staff. A lot of the information that was in the survey, staff were telling us that they didn't just want the sort of the normal budgeting, how do you save, because actually a lot of our staff, they don't have the money in order to do that. So it was actually looking a little bit sort of more outside of the box, working on what we've already got in the organisation. So things like our NHS pension scheme, that was something where staff were wanting more information and actually how can that work better for them. We've been able to work with our payroll services and offer that additional support. We've been running a lot more regular webinars compared to what we have done before, and we've received some really fantastic feedback as a result of that. We've also been able to work a lot closer with Northumberland community banks.
And they've been looking at ways that we can provide kind of the sessions, for example, around mortgage advice, debt advice, and just making sure that we're able to kind of address the situation without people feeling that they're having to say it to us.
We've had some really good feedback from staff, especially through a lot of the webinars and things that we are doing. We've also had some staff members as well who've attended our Thrive Roadshows as a result of us changing a lot of the offers that we have in the organisation. They've actually been saying they've been able to share this information with friends and family, which has been really positive. So in terms of the lessons learned from it, we found that it has been really beneficial, and what we would like to see going forward is to continue a lot of this work. We feel that the book kind of doesn't just end here, that actually there's an opportunity to do a lot more. From the results of the survey as well, we can use that as benchmarking data to then see, in a year's time, 2 years' time, actually have we made a difference? But not only, again, just for our organisation, but as part of the wider work that they're aiming to achieve, have we been able to contribute to that?